Good evening, everyone. Welcome to July 28th City Council meeting. This meeting is being recorded by video and audio in accordance with the state open meeting, certain provisions of the open meeting law and banning gatherings of more than 25 people. This meeting will be conducted by remote participation. Additional all votes taken by the City Council during this and future remote meetings will be by roll call vote. If you are calling in on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you are watching on a device, there is a raise hand button that you can tap to request to speak. Please use either of these options during oral communications to be recognized to speak. In attendance, we have Councilor John McCarthy, Councilor Steve LeBlanc, Councilor Valerie Gilman, Councilor Barry Pett, Councilor Jen Holmgren, Councilor Jamie O'Hara, Councilor Sean Nolan, and Councilor Melissa Cox are in attendance this evening. We also have our mayor, Mayor Taken, and we have our acting CAO, Vanessa Krozik. Did I forget anybody? I don't think we have. And Madam Clerk, we have the next order of business, please.
Next order of business is oral communications.
All righty. So the public shall have every opportunity at every regularly scheduled meeting to be heard under oral communications on this matter, on matters not appearing on the agenda. Oral communications shall be allowed any resident who has a request or complaint of any nature relative to city business to appear before the council, state their problem without debate, and the matter shall be referred to the proper agency through the office of the mayor. The resident will be notified within 2 weeks period relative to disposition of same, and a copy shall be forwarded to the city council. Persons speaking under oral communications shall be limited to 3 minutes. Council president shall not allow complaints as to individual performance. Is there anybody that would like to speak under oral communications? Let's see here. I am going to start off with this caller. So caller, could you please identify your name and address for the record? And we have quite a few people that want to speak under oral communication, so I'm going to start a timer. I'm going to give you 3 minutes, and I'll stop you at the 3 minute period. And if you're going to wrap it up, if you're able to wrap it up in 3 minutes, that'd be great. But I will give you a warning at the 3 minutes. So please name and address for the record, please.
My name is Craig Hamilton, 46 Grove Street in Gloucester, and I'm talking about Grove Street issues again. As far as I've been asking Steve and Jamie, I've talked to both of you, as well as Vanessa, about getting a street sweeper up here. I know the work's not going to begin up here till Labor Day, around that area again, but I'm trying to get a street sweeper up here to get some gravel, swept up, and have some of these potholes that are up here that are just absolutely terrifying filled, and I'm not getting any response from anybody on this. Everybody says they're going to get back to me, and nobody ever gets back to me.
So Craig, when I talked to you the other day, I talked to Mike Hale, and he said there wouldn't be a problem getting a street sweeper and getting some potholes filled. So
okay. So when is that going to happen, Steve?
I will find out for you. I'm not sure when, but he said it shouldn't be a problem at all. Okay.
Now I spoke with Vanessa a couple times last week too about the speeding cars up here. She said she had talked to Joe Fitzgerald about getting a radar up here on Grove Street to see, to post some of the speeds that people are, going up here on Grove Street. Mm-hmm. And I've yet to see that happen either.
All right, I'll see what I can do for you, pal. I got your number. I'll give you a call as soon as I get any information.
Okay, Steve. I got one more issue. It goes to Madison Ave on 40 Madison Ave. There's somebody posted a quick text about a National Grid cutout that was done down there a while ago, maybe about a month ago. And they posted something about nobody ever came and fixed the sidewalk. And what happened was, last Friday night, out walking my dog, I noticed that after a lot of the rain, there was probably a there was probably a 2.5 foot deep sinkhole that was created there from the water. I contacted the Gloucester Police Department. They sent a cruiser up here. They identified that there indeed was a hole in the sidewalk, and the DPW came up and filled it in and roped it off again, put a cone. But on cclickfix.com, it said prior to that issue that I had, that it was completely taken care of down there. And it's just a bunch of gravel down there in the middle of a sidewalk. And it's still a hazard down there for wheelchairs and baby strollers. So I don't know what's going on down there either, but I just know that, on cclickfix.com it said that it was taken care of, and clearly it was not taken care of.
All righty, Craig. We'll try to get some information to you on that too, bud.
All right, I appreciate it, Steve. I mean, like I told Vanessa last week, I'm advocating around here for a lot of the young people that are walking their babies and young children around here, as well as the elderly people that are walking around my neighborhood as well, that don't have a voice or just don't know how to go about fighting the fights that we have to fight around here.
Yep, I get
especially
you.
on Grove. So I'm advocating for these people. And it's a safety concern as well for me and my mother as well.
You're advocating very well, Craig. All right, we're at the 3 minutes.
I appreciate it, Steve. If you can get back to me ASAP on and getting the street sweeper up here and getting some of these potholes filled, and then just taking care of some of the issues that are going on up here. I know it's not going to happen until Labor Day, and I'm being patient on that, but it's just getting really tiring with nothing happening at all.
All right, but I'll get right back to you on it. I promise you.
All right, Steve. I appreciate it. I don't want to take up everybody's time.
No problem. All right. Up next, we have Marianne Peterson. Marianne, could you have your name and address for the record, please?
Yeah, it's Marianne Peterson, 3 Briar Neck Avenue, right over here in Long Beach. Okay, so everybody knows about the issues going on with Long Beach at this point, right? And I've emailed with Scott, and I've spoken with Jamie, and I've been here for about 54 years. So all I wanted to go through is I had written an email, and I just want to get it into the record so that, we're seeing a boatload of traffic at Long Beach this year because of the restrictions that have been placed on the Gloucester city parking lots and the varying degrees of, residency versus non-residency. The traffic resulted in an increase of people, litter, traffic, drinking, arguing, inappropriate language, and yesterday, one of my best friend's sons was in a bit of an incident with someone who had borrowed a paddleboard from the family, and the boyfriend who was drinking did not give back. They lost one of the paddles, and they did not give back the paddle. And they asked how much they'd have to pay for it. He said, I need $100 for it. And there was an argument ensued, and some pushing and shoving. But my friend's son essentially backed down and handled it. But what he was saying was that they were drinking all day. So anyway, and even the week before that, I was involved in the middle of an argument between 2 sets of people in front of the Cape Ann Motor Inn, and Lauren, the daughter of Cape Ann Motor Inn's owner, Brad. She had already dealt with it, but there was still a lot of grumbling going on. So I knew one of the sets of people, and I just kind of engaged them to try to calm things down. But I'm seeing it a lot. And I mean, of course, we have this whole virus thing going on. So last week, Robert Russell, who I've known all my life, and he's at 40 Rockport Road, and they sit right there. They see everything from that porch deck. And, he's concerned because his mom turned 91, and they're dealing with her not being able to comfortably go in and out of the place. And so they really just wanted to meet with the neighborhood. And Ricky, and we've known Ricky Pratt, the lot owner, for years. So we don't want to put Ricky out of business. We're trying to come to an agreement to help with the congestion, help with what's going on, and to relieve some of the stress that we're all feeling. So my whole thing is just for purposes of you all know, we're losing beach. We've lost 100 feet of beach in 99 years, and that's in Rockport's report that they did 5 years ago. So it's been more since. The fact that we have a 225 vehicle parking permit given to Ricky, that was done in pre-COVID, and there is no beach at high tide. If you go down there and you sit there, you realize it's virtually non-existent. 99% of the beaches in Rockport, the part that's in Gloucester, you've got the KPN Motoring owning part of it, and Gary Sexton and Donna Sexton and the Lucci family privately own the other part. So there's a right of way, but then it goes into Rockport.
Marianne,
Yeah.
you're over 3 minutes, but if you
Okay.
want to finish
All right.
up, that'd be
Bottom line is I'll wrap it up in 10 seconds.
okay. Perfect. Thank you.
I want to see a reduction in capacity. I want you to think about how we apply COVID-19 to this particular situation, considering in the future using a parking app for parking by reservation and to get some police presence, especially here and there during the day on the weekends, because there's a lot of drinking, littering, and other stuff going on. And I sent some pictures of the traffic that's going on down there and some of the pictures of what's going on the beach. Thanks, guys.
All right, Marianne, thank you. We'll get something right back to you.
All right.
Thanks for speaking up. We appreciate it. All right, next we have our next speaker. Deborah, can you please say your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, I'm Deborah Weinstock Savoy, and my address is 34 Rockport Road, which also is right at the end of Rockport Road there next to the beach. We're at the Long Beach Place condominiums. We're a full-time residence there. We've been living there full-time for 7 years after about 40 years of coming to this area on vacation. And I live there with my husband. We are also concerned about the congestion traffic, but also just the foot traffic, the pedestrian traffic right now. In the context of the COVID-19 pandemic. My husband is 70 years old and has high blood pressure. I'm 65 with a pacemaker. Our extended family includes a 4-year-old with asthma. And in the context of the pandemic and the increased amount of foot traffic that we've seen on Rockport Road, we've been uncomfortable just walking off the property onto the road on any nice day this summer. And there's always been a lot of summer pedestrian traffic. We expect that, especially between the Beachland parking lot and the beach. But this is the first time that we felt like our health was threatened by that foot traffic. It has increased markedly since the city first closed the public lots to non-resident parking and then changed to instituting capacity restrictions for non-resident parking at Good Harbor Beach and the other Gloucester town beaches. Many of the people on the street still don't wear masks, and it's difficult to social distance in that context. My family's solution has been to try to stay inside most of the time on nice days, but that's not a very pleasant solution in the summertime. I have to say, over the years, I have appreciated the fact that Mr. Pratt is accommodating to neighbors and abutters. But in the context of this, and I agree with Mrs. Peterson, I'm not looking to shut him down, but in the context of this extraordinary and ongoing public health emergency, it seems appropriate that private parking lots be held to the same kind of capacity restrictions as public lots, especially since the restrictions on the public lots then drive more traffic to the private lots. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you for listening.
All right, Deborah, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, our next caller, anybody else that would like to speak under oral communications? All right, hold on, let me double check. We have another caller here, or Mark, can you have your name and address for the record, please?
Sure, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, my name is Mark Sincata. I live at 8 Twilight Ave in the Long Beach neighborhood. And I also would like to reiterate what Deborah and Marianne said in that, you know, it seems to me that clearly Gloucester must have some concern about beachgoers as regards to COVID-19 because you're limiting the number of non-residents available, resident spots available at Good Harbor Beach. I think that from a neighborhood perspective, all we're looking for is that same concern around our neighborhood and looking for those spots at the Beachland parking lot to be reduced accordingly. Certainly don't want to put anyone out of business, but at the same time, this is a global pandemic. Almost 150,000 Americans have died of this. And it's dangerous out here on the weekends, and certainly would appreciate anything that we may be able to do with the city of Gloucester to help alleviate any possible issues with it. And that's all I had to say.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak? All right, we have another caller here. Caller, please name and address for the record.
Yes, hi. My name is Lisa Buchert. I actually live on 34 Rockport Road, along with my other neighbors. And I am also calling to support the decision, or trying to get a decision, to limit the number of parking. I happen to be a frontline healthcare worker, and I'm watching non-social distance, and, you know, I feel very unsafe just walking by people on the walkway because there's too many people in one area. There's large groups of people. Nobody's enforcing the large number of people. And as a healthcare professional, and seeing COVID firsthand, and am concerned to get COVID because none of us have that guarantee that we're not going to get it. The numbers are starting to rise, and we've seen them rising in other parts of the country. I happen to work for Beth Israel Lahey Health, and we are presently preparing for a second wave of corona. So I really feel that the town needs to support us in this decision. It's the only problem we're having right now is this is a pandemic. This is unprecedented times. If this was last year and we're trying to get reduced parking, I don't think it would hold as much weight. But our main concern is just the safety and actually, you know, being able to live here. I live right in the front. I see, you know, everything going on, and I just, it's actually very upsetting. I've had to call the police several times on domestic incidences I've witnessed, parking issues. There were 2 Fridays actually, and I know that construction's gone, but I was late for work. I was docked time because I have to swipe in. I couldn't get out of the street. That has actually gotten a little bit better, but there were no police officers present. There was no one to help me. I actually had to get a cone, walk halfway up the street, put it in somebody's car, and just say, can you stop? Because I need to get to work and I can't get out. Nobody would let me out. I asked for assistance from some of the attendants for the parking lot, and they said, oh, sorry, I can't help you. You just got to fight your way through. So just, you know, I'm on the phone here to open your eyes that there's a big problem here, and we're not getting support from Rockport or from the town of Gloucester. And I know that there's been multiple calls, letters written, and we still really don't see anything happening. So I'd really appreciate some help for the rest of the public for safety.
All righty, thank you very much. We will get something back to you as soon as possible. Next caller, please, your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is John Taplett. I live at 16 River Road. I'm calling in this evening to share thoughts on 2 issues. The first one is over at Wingersheek. It seems like it's almost a large block party each Saturday and Sunday. And while it's important that we get people out to the beach and let them blow off steam and relax so that we don't have issues elsewhere, there's very limited social distancing, lots of rafting of the boats, which has been banned by the governor, and it's not being enforced. I understand these issues are difficult to enforce, but they're really important because the 20 to 30-year-olds who are out there and spreading the virus, or potentially spreading the virus, may not be the ones who have to kind of reap that problem. It's going to be the older members of our community with health issues this fall if we have another outbreak. And it's going to be the youngest members of our community, the kids who are trying to go to school this fall if we have to keep our schools closed. And if we have to keep our schools closed, there's going to be fall-on economic impact. There's got to be some way to enforce either social distancing or masks or limit rafting. I realize it's a complicated issue with state waterways as well, but there's got to be a way to force some type of resolution or policing, or the regulations we have in place are basically meaningless. The other one, pardon me?
Oh, hold on, somebody unmuted themselves. People speaking, can everybody mute themselves, please? I've got everybody muted, but go ahead, John, I'm sorry, go ahead.
The other issue is related to parking. And, again, we want as many people out in the water and cooling down so we don't end up with, social unrest. with areas inland when people are overheated. But we've got a big problem down on River Road where I personally was assaulted in my front yard about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. Ended up, incapacitated, unable to go for a run after I was thrown down some stairs by 2 guys who were doing drugs and were drunk in our front yard. We have about 2 trespassers a day. We had a woman publicly urinating in front of my 2 small children, which was a massive disruption. And my 80-year-old father-in-law is worried about going across to his dock. He's grown up in the same house and lived there for 80 years. He went to the Leonard School when he was a small boy and has never seen anything like this in 80 years living on the block, and doesn't feel safe in his own front yard in his own home. If we could switch something to resident parking or placards for visitors or something just to keep out-of-town folks at least at bay. We want our neighbors down here. We want to see them, but we don't want to have an unsafe environment.
Alrighty, John, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on the oral communications? Marianne, name and address for the record, please.
Hi, it's Marianne Albert Boucher, 93 Mount Pleasant Avenue. I've just been listening into everyone's concerns in regards to Long Beach, Wingasheek Beach. I own a home next to Niles Beach. I got talking. Niles Beach has been much better in the last couple of weeks, but I got talking with some out-of-towners who have been visiting Niles Beach. And one thing that someone said really struck me. And they said, we'd rather get a $75, we can put 8 people in our SUV and spend a day on any of your beaches and get a $75 ticket on a no parking road. And that's less than what it would cost per person to go to the movies for an hour and a half. So I just thought that when you hear it in that perspective, it really is an eye-opener to see that people are using the no parking areas. They don't care. And when you look at it in that light of it being 8 people in an 8-person car spending less than $7.50 to spend a day on the beach, it's worth it to them. So I don't know, maybe the parking ticket needs to be double that. I don't know if that's possible, but maybe that would eliminate a lot of the problems, not necessarily Long Beach, but maybe in the Wingasheek, Good Harbor Beach, Niles Beach areas. I don't know. I just thought I'd bring that to your attention because that really struck me as something. Thank you. Have a good night.
All righty. Brianne, is there anybody else that would like to speak on the oral communications? All righty. Seeing none.
I was done.
Thank you, everybody. And hold on, let me mute Marianne. All right, Madam Clerk, can we have the next order of business, please?
The next order of business is confirmation of new appointments.
All righty. So under the new appointments, get right off, we got the Human Rights Commission, John D. Love. Ordinance Administration, unanimously to recommend the City Council. Oh, hold on one second. Let me take a step back here. All right, we got new appointments. City-owned Cemeteries Advisory Committee. Christine Manny. Christine, are you here with us today? All right. I think she said she had another engagement this evening. And she is fulfilling a full, she's on there now and she's fulfilling a unexpired term. So Ordinance Administration voted unanimously to recommend that the City Council appoint Christine Manny from an alternate to a full member fulfilling an expired term to the City-owned Cemeteries Advisory Committee, term to expire 2/14/22, and I so move.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, I'm gonna call for the roll call. Hold on 1 second, let me pull up my Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Memhard.
Yes.
Councilor.
Yes.
Councilor O'Hara.
Yes.
Councilor Pett.
Yes.
Councilor Cox,
Yes.
Councilor Gilman,
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes. Motion passes on a roll call vote, 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Congratulations.
Next, we have the Human Rights Commission. We have Jennifer Beloff and Paul Westerman. Jennifer is up first. Jennifer, are you with us today? Oh, there
Yes,
you
I
are.
am.
Great, appreciate it. Ordinance Administration voted unanimously to recommend that the City Council appoint Jennifer Beloff to the Human Rights Commission, term to expire 2/14/23, and I so move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none. And if just so you guys know, if you have anything to say about these appointees, the council, please step up and give kudos if you wish. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call. Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Memhard.
Yes.
Councilor Nolan.
Of course.
Councilor O'Hara.
Yes.
Councilor Pett.
Yes.
Councilor Cox.
Most definitely.
Councilor Gilman.
Jennifer, you're awesome. Yes.
Thanks.
Councilor Holmgren.
Kudos and yes.
Councilor LeBlanc. Yes. Motion passes on a roll call vote, 9 in favor, 0 opposed. Next motion is Ordinance Administration voted unanimously to recommend that the City Council appoint Paul Wasserman to the Human Rights Commission, term to expire 2/14/23, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, call the roll call. Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Memhard.
Yes.
Councilor Nolan.
Definitely.
Councilor O'Hara.
Yes.
Councilor Pett.
Yes.
Councilor Cox.
Yes.
Councilor Gilman.
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren.
Yes.
And Councilor LeBlanc. Absolutely yes. All right, motion passes on a roll call vote, 9 in favor, 0 opposed. The next motion is the Open Space and Recreation Committee. Dan Morris. Dan, are you with us? And maybe not. He may be in the attendees. Oh, here he is. Hold on 1 second. Let me allow him to talk. Dan, are you there?
Yes. Hello.
Great, Dan. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So the motion, Ordinance Administration voted unanimously to recommend that the City Council appoint Daniel Morris to the Open Space and Recreations Committee, term to expire 2/14/23, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, I will call. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you all for volunteering your time. A big yes.
There you go, John. Oh. Are you there? Hear me?
Yeah, we got you now, Steve.
Oh, okay, I lost it for a second. I'm gonna move inside. Councilor Memhard.
Yes.
Councilor Nolan.
Definitely, and welcome back in.
Councilor O'Hara.
Yes.
Councilor Pett.
Echoing Councilor McCarthy, yes, and thank you to all for volunteer to serve.
Councilor Cox.
Yes.
Councilor Gilman.
Yes, and just to note that Dan has a rich history in open space. He's going to be terrific. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Val. Councilor Holmgren.
Yes.
And Councilor LeBlanc, yes. So motion passes a roll call vote, 9 in favor, 0 opposed. I'm just going to echo Councilor McCarthy. Thank you, everybody, for stepping up. It's because of everybody that on these boards, commissions, and committees that you help us do our jobs. And if you guys need anything from us, please feel free to reach out, and we'll see what we can do for you. So thank you, everybody, for volunteering, because that's what you guys do. You volunteer, and it's greatly appreciated. So keep up the good work, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Next order of business is the, Madam Clerk, can we have the next order of business, please?
Next order of business is the consent agenda and unanimous consent calendar.
All right, is there anybody that would like to remove anything from the consent agenda? All right, seeing none, I will call a roll call to accept the, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I'm going to call the roll call. Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Memhard?
Yes.
Councilor Nolan?
Yes.
Councilor O'Hara?
Yes.
Councilor Pep? Okay.
Yes.
There you go, Barry.
Yes.
Yep, Councilor Cox, there you go. Councilor Gilman?
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren?
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc? Yes. Motion passes to accept the unanimous consent, the consent agenda on a roll call vote, 9 in favor, 0 opposed. The consent agenda, is there any council that would like to remove anything from the consent agenda? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as is.
So moved.
Moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All right, I'm going to call the roll call. Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Memhard?
Yes.
Councilor Nolan?
Yes.
Councilor O'Hara?
Yes.
There you go, Jamie. Councilor Pett?
Yes.
Councilor Cox?
Yes.
Councilor Gilman?
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren?
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc? Yes. Motion passes to accept the unanimous consent agenda on a roll call vote, 9 in favor, 0 opposed. Madam Clerk, we have the next order of business, please.
Next order of business is the committee reports. There was no BNF meeting on July 23rd. The next one is the Ordinance and Administration Standing Committee report of June 15th, 2020.
Thank you. Next order of business is the Points Administration. Sarah, are you there?
Yes, I am.
There you go, Sarah. So how are we doing? We got all our ducks in a row?
Almost. I applied for the RDA through the Conservation Commission, and I think that it's going to go up on their meeting on August 5th.
All right, so we're going to continue this out to the next council meeting. I just have a quick question for you.
Sure.
Will you be the only one working under this permit, or will you have people working underneath you?
There will be others that are also participating. I've put their names on the permits that I've gotten through the state.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
As long as everybody's on it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you a quick email too, and give me a call later on. All right.
Okay.
So we're gonna continue this out to the next city council meeting. Joanne, what is that? The 11th, August 11th.
Yes, it is August 11th.
All right. So we'll continue this out to August 11th. So like I said, Sarah, I'm gonna send you an email in a little bit, and I'll give you my number on it. I think I've already sent you one, but I'll resend it, and just give me a call at some point tomorrow, and we can have a quick chat.
Okay.
All right, great, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All righty, next order of business, Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
Is the Ordinance and Administration Standing Committee report of July 20th, 2020.
All right, I thought we just did our Ordinance Administration, because that was Sarah. That was the only one on there, right, for O&A?
Lanesville Community.
Okay, my bad, I see it. All right, Ordinance Administration.
That's a different date.
Yeah, I was looking back at it, okay. All right, so I will call read the motion. Ordinance Administration voted unanimously to recommend that the City Council, pursuant to Section 11 of Chapter 115 of the Acts of 2020, that the City Council evaluate and report on whether the public health reasons due to the COVID-19 changing the Ward 4 Precinct 2 polling location from the Lanesville Community Center, 8 Vulcan Street, to the Plum Cove School, 15 Hickory Street, would have a desperate adverse impact on access to the polls on the bias of race, national origin, and disability, income or age, and I so move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Councilor Gilman?
So this was a really proactive and important move to make in terms of making sure that we were being socially distanced, and we could not make that happen at the Lanesville Community Center. So our city clerk, Joanne Sinos, navigated this. We had a vote first starting with the school committee. I believe it was on July 6th or 8th, and it was unanimous in support. It was supported at O&A. We had to do some more technical work to talk about all the dimensions and the ADA accessibility at Plum Cove School. So Joanne and I did that together last week. We found we were short one handicap spot to accommodate this at Plum Cove School, and Bob Ryan is already on it and coming up with a second handicap spot at the school. And it was great because we got to meet our new principal, Dan Jewett, and it's just the right thing for the community. And I'm definitely supporting this, and I appreciate the work that our city clerk's office has done, as well as the support from the mayor, the schools, and O&A. This is the right thing to do. I've received nothing but positive feedback. We remind parents that are concerned is that school will not be in session on either the day of the primary, which is September 1st, or the day of the main election, which is on November 3rd. And that kind of summarizes the narrative. So thank you, and I urge you to support this.
All righty. Is there any other discussion? All right, seeing none, I will call. Oh, I'm sorry.
I have something.
I'm sorry.
I do. Sorry.
Council Holmgren.
Thank you. This is a slam dunk. I want to thank Councilor Gilman and our city clerk, Joanne Sinos, for their work on this, and Councilor Gilman getting the word out to the community. I used to vote up in Lanesville back when my husband and I first got married, and it is crowded there. So this is definitely way better. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, John. Is there any other discussion? All right, seeing none, I will call for the roll call. Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Memhard?
Yes, and thank you, Val, for your efforts to make this happen.
Councilor Nolan? Sean, you with us? All right, I'll circle back around to Sean. Councilor O'Hara?
Yes.
Yes.
Nope. Sean's a yes. Councilor O'Hara?
Yes.
Councilor Pat?
Yes, and thank you to Councilor Gilman and Clerk Sinos.
Councilor Cox?
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren? Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Gilman?
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren?
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc? Yes. Motion passes 9 in favor by roll call, 0 opposed. There's another motion that goes along with this. Ordinance and Administration recommends to the City Council, voted unanimously to recommend that the City Council, pursuant to Section 11, Chapter 115 of the Acts of 2020, and for the public health reason due to COVID-19, the City Council moved the Ward 4 Precinct 2 polling location from the Lanesville Community Center, 8 Vulcan Street, to the Plum Cove School, 15 Hickory Street, effective immediately for the September 1st, 2020 state primary and the November 3rd, 2020 general election, and I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion?
Did we lose Steve?
I think we lost Steve. Uh-oh.
Should I continue until he gets
Val,
back on?
continue.
Okay. So we have a motion, we have a second, so we need to do a roll call. I don't know what the order is, so I will start with Council McCarthy.
Yes.
Council Pett.
Yes.
Council Holgram.
Yes.
Council Memhard.
Yes.
Council O'Hara.
Yes.
Counsel Nolan,
Yes.
Counsel Cox,
Yes.
Counselor Gilman, yes. Is Counselor LeBlanc back yet? So I think we've got everybody. So the 8 in favor and 1 absent for the vote. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
Is the Planning and Development Standing Committee report of July 22nd, 2020.
Thank you. So the committee report is pretty simple, other than a public hearing we'll have shortly. I just wanted to mention that we had several special events that came up. The one that is most notable for tonight is that the Fish Box Derby on September 20th, 2020, which we did approve at P&D, subject to reconnecting again a month before the event. It was determined from the event organizer, Mark Nestor, that he wanted to withdraw this, and he sent that letter in to us, and we have it in our packets on Monday, July 27th. So I just asked counselors to, I'd like to move to accept the withdrawal of the September 20th, 2020 Fish Box Derby. Yeah.
Second.
Second.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about
Okay.
that, guys. I have no idea what happened. 1 minute, I'm talking, the next minute. All right.
So we've moved the.
I got it. I heard it. All
Okay,
right.
great.
I'm gonna call the roll call. Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Memhard,
Yes.
Councilor Nolan,
Yes. Great decision. Great group.
Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Pat,
Yes, 20 years for me, and hope they do well next year.
Councilor Cox,
Yes.
Councilor Gilman,
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes. Motion passes on a roll call vote, 9 in favor, 0 opposed. And next order, Madam Clerk, the next order of business, please.
Next order of business is the first public hearing 2020-021, application of EIP Dory Road LLC for the storage of ethanol at 11 Dory Road, assesses map 262, lot 16, per Mass General Law, Chapter 148, Section 13, and Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 8, Section 8-1, license for storing inflammables.
Alrighty, I'm going to open the public hearing and ask if there is anybody that would like to speak in favor. Let me remind everybody, if you're calling in on a telephone, you can press *9 to request to speak, or if you are on a laptop or a device, there is a raise your hand button to ask to speak.
Okay, Council President, if I may.
Yep.
Okay, Jeff Beanie is an attendee and he's the applicant. So we should ask him to.
Yeah, there he is, I got him.
Okay.
He didn't have his hand up. Okay. Jeff, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Would you like to speak in favor?
Yes, obviously. Yeah, so we are looking forward to moving from phase 1, which Fire Inspector Adam DeBregard has been very gracious and checked out our operations to allow us to be operating at small volumes, about 500 to 700 gallons. But we are looking to install our 10,000 gallon tank and work with some larger folks in the area, including Whole Foods, Applied Materials here in Gloucester up the road, which is in desperate need, just bought some from us and other folks in the area as this pandemic continues. So we'd like to basically expand our operations and get things going here in August.
Alrighty. Is there anybody else that would like to speak in favor? All right, seeing none, is there anybody else that would like to speak in opposition? All right, seeing none. Madam Clerk, are there any communications?
There are none.
Are there any councilor questions? Barry, you have a question? Councilor Pat.
I just wanted to reiterate that we did at P&D, we had that, and not only the applicant, but the fire inspector also supported it and went through things in detail. So we do have the support of the fire department as well.
Okay, great, Barry. Appreciate that. Are there any more councilor questions? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and call for the committee report, please.
Thank you, Councillor. On a motion by Councillor Gilman, seconded by Councillor Holgram, the Planning and Development Committee voted by roll call, 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council grant a license under GCO Chapter 8, Fire Prevention and Protection, Section 8-1, license for storing inflammables, MGL Chapter 148, Section 13 and 527 CMR 1 for storage of inflammables at 11 Dory Road, Assessor's Map 262, Lot 16, owner EIP Dory Road, LLC, specifically to store ethanol Class 3 AST for a total quantity of 10 gallons. And I so move. Sorry, 10,000 gallons, and I so move.
All right.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I was going to say, if 10 gallons, I think we all need a special permit if we need 10 gallons of gas.
Not a lot of hand sanitizers with that.
All right. All right. Awesome. All right. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, I just want to repeat what Councilor Pett said. You know, what is more awesome than a local company coming up with making hand sanitizer during this this epidemic right now, pandemic. So it was really awesome to see Jeff Beanie and get to know him a little bit. And our fire inspector, Adam DeBrugard, was there and talked about its importance. So it's a good, good partnership between city and counselors and our taxpayers, because this is an awesome opportunity to do what's right. And I hope that you join me in supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you, Val. Council Holmgren.
I want to thank Jeff as well, and echoing Councilors Pett and Gilman. I'm so excited about this, that you guys can actually produce the ethanol here rather than having it shipped in. This can only be good for our community, and I wholeheartedly support this.
All right. Anybody else?
Steve.
Councilor Nolan.
I just want to thank Jeff for doing business in Gloucester and choosing this town with his products that are going to be excellent, especially in this pandemic. And whatever we can do to help him out, I will be supporting.
All right. Is there anybody else? Seeing none, I will call the roll call. Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Memhard.
Yes.
Councilor Nolan.
Yes.
Councilor O'Hara.
Yes.
Councilor Pett.
Yes.
Councilor Cox.
Yes.
Councilor Gilman.
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren.
Yes.
Councilor Blank. Yes. Motion passes on a roll call vote, 9 in favor, 0 opposed. Once again, Jeff, thank you for doing business in Gloucester. We appreciate it. If you need anything else, please feel free to reach out to any one of us. We'll try to help you out with whatever we can.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the support of the mayor and the entire councilor group here and the entire town.
All righty, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, next order of business. Joanne, do you want me just to read all these instead of you having to read them all?
It's up to you. If you like to, you can.
All right, I may as well read them. Next order of business is public hearing 2020-009, special council permit 2020-001, Wingasheet Road, number 105, map 261, lot 31, Gloucester zoning section 1.8.3, standard to be applied in 3.1.6 subsection B, building height in excess of 35 feet in the R20 low medium density residential district. I'm going to open the public hearing and continue this till August 11th, 2020. Next item is public hearing 2020-010, special council permit 2020-002, Essex Avenue, number 99A, map 216, lot 126, Gloucester zoning, section 1.8.3, standard to be applied, section 3.1.6, subsection B, building height in excess of 35 feet, section 2.3.4, subsection 13, marine related service, storage or repair, limited primarily in the MI district to commercial fishing vessels, section 5.5, lowland requirements, section 5.5.2 and section 5.5.3 in the EB district. And I'm going to open the public hearing and continue this until August 25th, 2020. Next order of business is other business, and this is a good segue into.
Excuse me, Council President. You missed number two public hearing this, regarding the sunset clause.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll go back. We'll jump back. Item number 2, public hearing 2020-002, City Council vote on August 22nd, 2017 in reference to the COVID 2017-166 in reference to the Gloucester zoning ordinance 5.30.1, purpose regarding the sunset clause. We're going to continue this to the next City Council meeting for a council vote, and that's going to be continued till 8/25/20. Well, not the next council meeting, but 8/25/20. And this is just the sunset clause for the bags, plastic bags purpose. All right.
Excuse me, Council President, it is
Yes.
not, I'm sorry to correct you, but that is about the multifamily.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just.
Okay.
All right, my bad. All right, so this is the sunset clause, but this is good. So I'm sorry, because Joanna had a conversation earlier about another sunset clause. So so this is going to be the sunset clause for the multifamilies, making them legal apartments. So, all right. Are we good to go for the next other business? All right, the next other business. So all these public hearings is a good segue into this. So this is a discussion only on the City Council discussion on resuming public hearings for special council permits. So I'm going to start this off, and I'd like everybody to chime in at some point. We do have our General Counsel, Prisoner, and we do have our Community Development Director, Jill, with us this evening for any questions. So a few months ago, we decided that we were going to suspend our public hearings, special council permits, and site visits for special council permits. Little did we know that this was going to maybe last the rest of the year, and who knows how long. So, I mean, I have the authority to go ahead and pull the trigger on this and resume these special council permits, but as always, I want to include the rest of the council. I think we're all just as important on our voices, and we may have other thoughts or whatnot. But I'm going to turn it over to Jill. So Jill, would you like to start this up for us and tell us what you think about resuming these?
Sure. So just as a little background for why the council president asked me to be here to speak to you guys today. So in two roles, right? So in the reopening task force, I've been assigned to be the chair of events, culture, churches, funerals, any type of social gathering. So the subcommittee of the task force that I'm working on specifically speaks to any type of place where people will gather. So I've been spending a lot of time learning about that and working closely with the Department of Public Health. And then the other reason is, as you all know, that within our team, we staff both the Planning Board and the Conservation Commission, which are required to act under very similar pretenses as you guys. So the council president just asked me to weigh in, and the mayor's office asked me to weigh in from both of those perspectives. And I shared with Steve an email from the perspective of gatherings. At the end of the day, the governor's guidance still requests that not more than 25 people gather in an indoor space. And so for me, and I believe Chip responded, and Krishna would agree. For me, from the perspective of gatherings, that still would mean for City Council that at some point you have to limit the number of people, no matter how big the space inside, and then you start playing with open meeting law, and you have guidance from the governor's office that allows you to meet open meeting law requirements this way. From the perspective of the planning board and the Concom, I just want to let you all know that they have been successfully holding public hearings on many of the projects that are in front of you as well. I've checked in with both Greg and Adrian prior to this call, and both say that the attendance by the public in those hearings has not changed. In some ways, it has increased. They both feel strongly that they're able to present things really well on the screen. You know, it's not stopping. I think one of the most important things Adrian shared with me is that that you guys should think about is the process by which the abutters are notified about a public hearing has not changed. So that is the stimulus that gets people to come out and participate in a public meeting. And that piece of things is still working in the same manner. So that was something they felt strongly about. Both of those boards are also continue to have site visits. So I talked to them a bit about that. And I would say a thing to remember when you're conducting site visits is that the site visit is not intended to be a public meeting. It is intended for you as counselors to gather information about the project and then come back to a public meeting setting to deliberate. So both Concom and Planning Board have done all their site visits. They encourage the members to go alone. Usually Adrian or Greg will meet with the chair or one other member when they do the site visit, just so they're on the same page. But they've said, and again, you know, wear a mask, tell the property owner to wear a mask. And these are not intended to be public gatherings. These site visits are not intended to be a place where the public comes to listen in on the topic. It's really there for you guys. In fact, they found the opposite with site visits. They're more concerned about people showing up on property and not having masks on. So Adrian is working very hard to have no contact site visits, saying, I will let you know what day I'll be at your place and a time frame. I don't need to interact with you. I have all the plans and everything in front of me. I prefer no contact to be safer for COVID reasons. So I'm looking at some of my notes from them. So Concom is a little different, and I won't get into it unless you have questions, but Concom is a little different. I know Councilor McCarthy and I have spoken a little bit about some of the questions about the appeal period. Concom has the DEP that they have leaned on to push very hard on. If you're going to appeal, the governor says that you have 45 days, and Krishna, correct me if I'm wrong here, 45 days after the end of the emergency order. DEP has weighed in because they were getting so much pushback, and Concom was holding permits. And so they have dealt with that in a very different way. And DEP said they negotiated, and they said they will, if an applicant specifically requests it, they will respond within 10 days to say whether they're going to intervene or not. And abutters have that same opportunity, and that is working also. So I guess my message to you, so that we already know that DEP has intervened on some of the properties that are before you guys and were before Concom. We know there's also been an abutter situation, an abutter appeal that has happened. So the moral of the story from the Planning Board and Concom side is it's working. People are doing this. It's working. Our other boards are moving permits along. And, you know, we're happy to assist and give some guidance in that. We're not the Department of Public Health. We turn to them when we ask for any guidance about social distancing or physical distancing or mask wearing. But beyond that, you know, you should know, and I hope you understand with confidence, and feel free, please, if you guys want to reach out to the Planning Board chair or the Concom chair, or Greg or Adrian, please do. But both of those boards feel strongly that they are successfully running these public hearings.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Jill.
And site visits.
Thank you, Jill. Do we have any councilor questions? Council Holmgren.
It's not a question. It's a comment.
Yes.
Okay. I agree with what Jill has said, and with the feedback from the other boards and commissions. Our attendance, I've never seen attendance like this before. That's not to say that Zoom is perfect, as we saw from this evening's snafu. I don't know. Sometimes it happens. But I think that doing this and having a public hearing this way, as opposed to trying to figure out the logistics of which 25 people go in which room, is probably more practicable, because yeah, I mean, I'm hearing reports that Google isn't letting their employees go back to work in-house until next summer. So I mean, we're looking at this happening for a very long time here.
All right. I agree, Jen. So anybody else that would like to speak up? Councilor Gilman?
Thank you, Councilor.
Yeah, if you have a comment or a question, just this is the whole purpose of this, is for the discussion.
I appreciate that.
You know, Krishna's here for any open meeting, for any legals. Joe's here for any other thing. So you just we'll have at it.
Right. So P&D kind of began this conversation the past 2 sessions, and it was really helpful because we were talking about a site visit for one of our 3 special counsel permits that's in front of us, which is 1 Folly Point Road, and then Chip, our attorney, suggested that we should be consistent with all, which we took to heart. And we actually had a conversation, a really good conversation, about how it is we can structure a site visit, which is part of the next step to getting to a public hearing, because everything is stalled right now if we can't have in P&D a site visit. So we actually drafted something and we gave it to Karen Carroll to look at, and Greg looked at it. And it's really quite simple. It just shows 2 different meetings. If you have a big group of counselors, we want to try to keep to maybe a 10 limit group, socially distanced. So if it's just 3 counselors and 3 folks from the applicant, then it's under 10, we can easily social distance. If it's more counselors that want to attend, like a big one, like some of in the past, we've had like 8 or 9 counselors, then maybe we have to do one first half hour and then we repeat it the second half hour. And we had a really good conversation about that. And you see it in our minutes. So I also want to piggyback on what Jill Cahill said about the importance of noticing the abutters, because when we're back having the public, the site visit, and then you know, we do need to let the abutters know. One of the things we have to figure out is if they're not going to be invited to attend this public meeting, not a public hearing, we need to be clear that, you know, we have to clarify to the abutters that, because on the city council, we've always had an expectation that we post the site visits, and we have a pretty good, strong following, and we're very careful not to discuss and deliberate, and we only seek questions, and then we try to answer the questions when we're back in open session. And I think we've been really good about that. So that would be something that I'd need to refer to Chip and Krishna about, because it, you know, I just want to make sure that there isn't an open meeting law expectation, because we've always done that. At East Main Street, we had probably about 40 people there, and almost every counselor. Fuller Street, we had a couple there, and we had probably 35 to 40 people, and great Dunkin' Donuts, munchkins, and everything. It was, but you know, we were very careful about not going over anything we were allowed to speak about and discuss. But I guess that would be my biggest concern, is just figuring out that. But in terms of getting back on track with bringing these forward, I am all in. I really think that, you know, we don't know how long this is going to last. And we have to continue moving forward as long as we are really socially distanced and taking care of, you know, the health of folks that might be on a site visit. And I think we can make these happen on a Zoom call, an effective public hearing with really good information. Oh, so back to my point. So when we notice the public hearing, I think it's really good to add to the notices to the abutters that we have how they can go and zoom in and see the past meetings when we discussed it in P&D and how to get the packets. Those are really beneficial components to share with the abutters when we get back to those special council permit reviews at the city council level via the big public hearing. So I support it 100%. Thank you.
Great, Val. I appreciate that.
Counselor, I just have one question to Krishna to clarify there that I'm concerned about, that we are very careful about with site visits. If you post a site visit as a public meeting, and this is for a question for you, Krishna, but my understanding is if you post a site visit as a public meeting can only take place on public property. So you're essentially posting the meeting in the middle of a road. I want you to be very thoughtful about this concept of posting a site visit as a public meeting. And I think it might be further discussion for you to have with the general counsel's office, but to remember that at the heart of a site visit is about the counselors or the board members getting the information involved. It's not, you know, it's not actually envisioned to be one of your public meeting settings. And so I have concerns about this concept of lots of people showing up, donuts available on someone's private property. So I would caution you to make sure you work with the general counsel's office when you're talking about that.
I'd be happy to speak to that, as well as the other issue of the site visits going forward by video. So just to pick up where Jill left off, that's true. I mean, from legal's perspective, by law, by definition, a site visit is not a public meeting. And the public does not have an entitlement to participate and go on to a private landowner's property. The other thing that's important to think about for the city council is that you also get into accessibility issues. You know, if you have a public meeting somewhere that's not accessible to the public or isn't accessible to the public, then that is a problem because a public meeting has to be. And so, you know, just to echo what Jill said, the purpose of the site visits is to gather facts. As Councillor Gilman, you know, pointed out, there can't be any deliberations. And I think what Councillor Gilman, what you mentioned about having them be separate as far as the number of people, even if it's just, you know, the number of city councilors that wish to attend, that's perfectly fine under the law to have councilors go at different times and visit the property. It doesn't have to be all together. So that is a way to address that issue. And of course, as people have already mentioned, that, you know, that all the councilors as well as the applicant would need to have face coverings and socially distance. Going back to the initial issue, I think, you know, as Jill clearly stated, there's lots of other boards in Gloucester, or several other boards in Gloucester are doing meetings by Zoom. You know, I think as Councilor Blank mentioned, you know, when this started, we thought it was going to be a very short time, and it's now continuing. So I think, you know, what you've said makes sense. It's permitted by law to have these meetings by video. We have the technological capability to do it. Some of the things that, you know, you've done tonight, or, you know, you obviously would do with a special permit. You need to do the roll call. You need to make sure that any materials that are presented by the applicant, like if the applicant were to go to City Hall and show a PowerPoint or show a big poster, we just have to make sure that the public is able to see that, whether it be a screen share or it's something that's, you know, posted by the city in a way that everyone can see that, just so that those, you know, all the open meeting law protections remain in effect.
All right, thank you, Krishna. Thank you, Jill. Councilor Cox.
I also support the idea of moving forward. The other boards have proved that it's worth moving forward and that we're certainly capable of moving forward. I think we have waited as long as we possibly can to, hope that there was some sort of better outcome with this, and we haven't seen that yet, and we don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. So I think on behalf of our citizens and those that are trying to do business in Gloucester, that it's imperative that we move forward at this stage. I think we've run the gamut of requesting those that want to move forward to be patient with us, and frankly, the city council should be leading by example, and we've let the other boards work out the kinks for us. And I think that James was left us very well prepared to take on this task, and in honor of his efforts to get us where we are now, we should be moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Is there anybody else? Councilor McCarthy.
Yeah, I have to agree with what's been said so far. I have always said that I have some reservations about the appeal process and us issuing a building permit. I'm hoping that there is some type of a waiver that if someone is going to go forward without waiting for the appeal, that the city is indemnified from that. And Krishna could probably answer that. I mean, COVID's held us hostage long enough. I don't think it's fair to the developers and the people that want to move on with their construction and their development. I mean, we all thought we'd be back at Cairo seeing people in person in July or August, and that's not going to happen. And realistically, if a second wave comes, this could be another year. So, I mean, I think the technology isn't perfect. It isn't the same as seeing someone in person standing at the podium at City Hall, but, we have to move on, and we have to be able to rely on the media that we are enabled with.
Thank you, John. Is there anybody else like to speak? Questions, comments? Oh, hold on one second, Val. I want to make sure we get everybody else first. Councilor Pat?
Yes, just want to support what has been said, that it is time to move forward. We have many different individuals or groups that are trying to do some sort of development, and we owe it to them to go ahead and move forward, understanding the constraints of what's happening with the pandemic. But I support moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Councilor Memhard, you keep giving thumbs up, and you support it also? All right, Scott gave a thumbs up, so that's a yes. Is there any council that hasn't spoken yet before Councilor O'Hara? Go ahead, Jamie.
Okay, thank you. I think there's nothing better than a public hearing in a public setting. With that said, I agree with the COVID-19 and some of the measures that have been implemented have held things up. I think it's important that we try to improve the technology. As there's one gentleman that apparently wanted to speak at oral communications tonight and couldn't do that, and that'd be sad that people are missed. So I'm not an IT person. We have professionals within the city. I'm sure we can step it up a notch. But if we're going to go forward, we have to make sure that everyone is heard, that no one's missed. Also, I think it's important that we, the council, are given the tools to be able to work remotely. I think we're limited with that. I know I am. And going forward, if we're going to be looking at drawings, at layouts, at what have you, we have to make sure we have the finest tools possible to make sure that we are seeing everything that's possible to go forward and make these decisions in a reasonable fashion. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. All right. So I haven't spoken yet either, so I'm going to speak real quick. just off topic, Jamie, when I see you with your headset on, I just want to watch a baseball game. You sound like the baseball announcer. You just got that look, so I want to watch a baseball game. But I agree with everything was said this evening. I think we should start moving forward with these. We had a caller call in earlier for the Pratt parking lot. It wasn't a technological thing. He didn't have his hand up. He didn't ask to speak. That's why he was overlooked. So it was, I don't want to blame Rich for not being technologically advanced, but I usually see the hand up and I try to get to everybody. So I'll have to keep reminding people on how to speak, how to press the *9 or raise their hand as we're going along for each individual person or motion like that people are going to speak on. So I will step up my end of it, but I think we owe it to our constituents. We owe it to the people, the applicants. We owe it to the people looking to build in Gloucester to at least move forward and take a stab at this and see how it works. So, Krisna, can you just maybe clarify one question for me? So if an applicant gets a special counsel permit, what will the city be liable for if it does get, if it gets opposed or if it goes, if it gets pulled into court? Is there a waiver that they're going to sign letting them know that they're going to move forward with this on their own without any city council, a waiver that says that we're not liable for what they do? They're going to build at their own risk. Is that something we can do?
Well, what I'd like to do is review that with Chip, and maybe we can add some language into the decisions to that effect. I think that might be the best way to handle that. But I mean, how it usually would work was with the special permits or any kind of zoning relief, that there's a certain amount of time that before you're supposed to act, that you have to wait to make sure that nobody appeals. And so I think we could probably, work with that language to put something like that in there.
Okay. Yeah, because I think they're going to have to build at their own risk at that point, because I know the appeal process has been postponed. So anything that comes through us, they're going to have to, it's going to be at your own risk, I think, right? All right. Council Gilman.
So this question is through the chair to Jill Cahill. Whereas Greg Catamatore works for you, and he's not here. But one of the things that we'll need to know in P&D is what is coming back to us right now would be staged. In other words, I know for a fact that there are no complications for one Folly Point Road, so I would assume that would be, we could get that on at the earliest possible meeting, provided we meet the terms of that open meeting emergency order from Governor Baker in terms of notice, right? So we'd have to make sure that we've done that appropriately. But then we've got both Essex Ave and we've got Atlantic Road, which there have been a couple of new directions. I mean, they're still coming forward, but there have been some, I don't want to say setbacks, but there have been some Concom issues, and there's been a modification of the plan. So it would be helpful for us through you, Jill, if you could kind of stage them and tell us when they're ready to come back to P&D, because we're willing to accommodate however we can, but we can only have so many of that next step meeting after a site visit. So just keep it through the chair, just keep us clear on what their order is, because it's going to be a different order to how they were staged when we approved them for P&D now, because of these different things that are happening.
Things are changing. So I will, Greg is on vacation, hopefully not getting eaten by a shark up in Maine, right in that area. So when he comes back, he'll be back next week. So when Greg gets back, I'll have him and Adrian get with Joanne to see what's technically on your agenda and make sure they provide any summaries of changes or updates between, because Joanne may have, some things may have been filed anyway, and we'll loop Bill Sanborn in too. So just to make sure that you have the most recent, most recent information on any of those projects, so you guys can start to set up your schedule.
Great.
No problem. We're happy
Thank
to do
you so much. I appreciate it.
Council Holmgren.
I just wanted to thank you, Mr. President, for bringing this forward, and to Krishna and Jill for being here and helping us work this out.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it was fitting enough for all of us to weigh in on this. This is a big issue. We're all going to have to deal with constituent complaints and constituents calling us to why we did this or why we're not doing this. So I think it deserved a full city council discussion. So, you know me, that's how I work. I want to include everybody. We're a team, and I want to include everybody as a team. So I appreciate everybody's feedback. So at this point, I think we're going to move forward to the special council permits. We'll work with Joanne, we'll work with Jill, and we'll work with Councilor Gilman on getting things up and running. I know they came in at certain times. I think the best practice is we're going to have to go back and get the applicants that applied first in the queue and move those guys along and go right down the line. And if I know Councilor Gilman talked about one applicant that has no opposition. If that's somebody that can come through and the other applicants don't, then we can put them on in advance. So, but we're going to have to start the queue where we left off with. That'd be the most sensible thing to do in my yes, Councilor Pat.
Yes, Steve, I agree with what you're saying. I don't think we can put something in the queue because we think it's not going to have any opposition or anything else. We can't give any preferential treatment.
Right.
I think we need to get to the point of this is where we started and that's where we need to continue in that order.
Exactly. I agree. All right. If there's nothing else. All right, Jill, thank you. Prisoner, thank you. Councilors, thank you. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please. Oh, hold on 1 second. So before we go to the next order of business, we do have Mr. Pratt on the line here. He's been very, very patient, and I want to give him, without opposition from the rest of the council, he tried to speak during oral communications. There's a lot of people that spoke, and I want to give him the opportunity to speak about what he has to say. Mr. Pratt, are you there? So name and address for the record, please.
Yes, this is Richard Pratt, 2 Beachland Avenue in Gloucester. I am the owner, or the Pratt family is the owner of Long Beach parking lot for the past 65 years. I'm a little bit technically challenged, so thank you for giving me this extra time to...
My pleasure.
All right. Anyway, last week the neighborhood had a meeting that I attended. I was very concerned with their concerns. I've listened to their complaints, and I was very surprised also to hear a number of people speak up on my behalf on the way that the operation and the operation has been done this summer. After thinking about ways that I could possibly improve the situation currently, I've come up with 2 ideas that are now in place starting this week. Number 1, I am now enacting a mask policy at the parking lot and instructing all of my staff that if they notice anyone leaving my premises that is not wearing a mask, to put on a mask that we are providing, to walk to the beach past the neighborhood, because this is a neighborhood concern and I understand that. And when they leave the beach, to please put the mask back on and to come back to their cars. The second idea I came up with is to put a 6-foot pathway with large cones and plastic chains that lead from the roadway to the high water mark that would give complete access to people to come and go safely and feel that they are comfortable, at least to get down to the high water mark and either take a left to get down to Long Beach, which is a mile long, And there's plenty of space on Long Beach to adhere to the state policies, which I have posted on my lot. I'm adhering to all the city council guidelines of my permit, and I am adhering to all the state guidelines on COVID-19. Everything is posted. We are cleaning our restrooms every other hour. I'm doing exactly what I can, and I just appreciate the time for you to let me get this into record. Thank you very much.
All right, Rich. No, we appreciate the follow-up. That's awesome news. So that helps us get back to the people that are concerned. So it's great to see that you're not only adhering to our concerns, but you're adhering to the neighborhood concerns. You know, we just gotta be aware of people that have respiratory issues with the masks and stuff like that. I know, you know, people have medical issues and they can't wear them the entire time, but they try to make the best of things. That's all. So, all right. If that's all, we appreciate you, what you've done, and thanks for attending the meeting last week and listening to all the concerns. And if there's anything else we can help you with, or if you need any help, just feel free to reach out to any one of us, and we'll try to point you in the right direction.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you,
Rich.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being patient. All right. Thank you, everybody. I know he's been waiting on the phone quite a bit, and I just wanted to get a little bit through some of this stuff. All right, Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
So the next order of business was inadvertently put on the agenda because the Fisheries Commission is not meeting. So from now on, we're not going to have any updates. So I am going to go to Council's request to the mayor.
All right, so I'm going to start with the roll call tonight. So Councilor McCarthy, we're going to start with you.
What a place to start. I have nothing to request to the mayor. However, last month, the whole council joined me in wishing Jim Destino good luck in his retirement. This year we lost 3 more of the managers to retirement. We lost Donna Lee, longtime city employee, Lucy Sheehan, who everybody knows, and Dr. Sapphire. And I'd just like to wish all 3 of them, you know, great luck in their retirement and good health, and thank you for their service.
Thank you, John. Up next, Councilor Memhard.
I'd just like to join with my fellow councilors to thank the mayor and her administration for all of the initiatives and the heartfelt efforts to steer our community through this unprecedented time. I think we're setting a good example. It's challenging, but we're doing well within the constraints that we're operating in, and just everyone needs to stay safe. But thank you all.
Thank you, Scott. Sean's no longer with us. He logged off. Councilor O'Hara.
Thank you. I'd like to ask the mayor to possibly consider commissioning a study on our sewer treatment plant as well as our water treatment plant. With the minor rain event that took place Friday evening, that dropped a couple inches of rain, nothing drastic, but it raised havoc in our city. We're looking at building, and I think we have to know what our limitations are with the tools that we have. Water, same thing. We've got plenty of water. We have huge watersheds, but we're restricted by pipelines that are ancient, pipelines that are breaking. We have water filtration plants that are old, water filtration plants that are falling apart. I don't think we as a city council can go forward without having infrastructure on, and I'll leave it at water and sewer because those are the 2 main issues that people have to live with. But we have to look at our entire infrastructure, right down where we're talking about voting, COVID-19. We have to look at everything. So I'm asking the mayor to consider commissioning a study to study our water and sewer throughout our city. Also, dealing with our schools, we're looking at building a new school. I have asked questions dealing with construction costs. I'm asking that the school department, the school committee, disclose everything associated with this project that we're considering. every cost, whether it's relocation, building a new softball field, a swing space, reconstruction of a swing space. We have to know each and every dollar. There's nothing we should be going into without knowing how much it is going to cost. Dealing with our schools, our children have been we're talking about public hearings. A lot of stress is out there, and parents, guardians, our children. We owe it to them to get them back into school, and I'm asking our school, our new superintendent, the school department, to consider what we're doing with our schools and getting our children back into the schools. Thank you. I appreciate the administration, everything that they've done dealing with the beaches. It's a very stressful time, and I want to thank them and the managers and all the departments. Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
All right, thank you, Jamie. Up next, we have Councilor Pat.
A few things, not necessarily requests, more kudos. As Councilor McCarthy said, I'd like to congratulate our new retirees and wish them well going forward, and thank them for all their years of assistance here in the city. I would also like to thank the mayor and the administration for all their efforts dealing with not only just the health aspects of the pandemic, but the fact that we have been inundated by visitors from other places, et cetera, and it's been a lot of work to go ahead and get the ideas in the right way to go ahead and move forward. And I want to thank them for all the hard work that they've done, and even see that the governor on more than one occasion has acknowledged the same. So I wanted to thank them. And I also want to thank our DPW workers, including those that very early this morning, I had some complaints that, they was woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but I was very happy to see the scheduled and announced and posted work done on Main Street to clean things up, as well as all the hard work the DPW is doing in these, really hot days, and just like to thank them all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Cox.
I just have one thing to share tonight. It's with a very heavy heart that I announced that the NIP bottle deposit did not pass.
Oh.
So fortunately, they are going to retry it with the full bottle bill again soon, but it did not pass. So there goes my retirement plan.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Gilman.
Thank you, Councilor. So I've got some requests to the mayor. Replacement quarries closed signs, 2 on High Street entrance, the 2 High Street entrances, 1 on Quarry Street entrance. They have been ripped down. A request to remove the small boulder on the Plum Cove footpath that cars that are illegally parking in the back of the school when the gate is closed are able to move the small boulder and go up the sidewalk over the grass up to sneak in the back of the building. And one of my thoughts would be to replace the small boulder with a Jersey barrier. I think that's what they call them. Something that people can't just move and get around the back. We were successful in towing 3 cars out of the back this week. But I just think it's a safety issue, security issue for the school. If that gate is closed, it's symbolic that parking isn't allowed there, and to see some of the quarry goers still removing that is just not a good thing. So that would be a request through the mayor to ask Public Works to just change the small boulder to something that's larger. I'd also like to ask, and I don't know if this is possible, but I thought it wouldn't be a bad idea to ask for a water test for Vernon's and Nelson's pit. Certainly if people are still trying to sneak in, as much as we're trying to do a good job enforcing, we're still getting about a fourth of the folks that we used to get going up there. But if the water quality is not good, then that would probably discourage that last fourth for sneaking up there right now. And then my last, I have a request that across from the tennis courts at the Annisquam on River Road, that we put 2 cones that says no parking tow zone on the right side of River Road, because cars are illegally parking there and there's no signage. But in the past it's been common sense because the road becomes narrower than 10 feet when cars park on both the left side of River Road and the right side where the tennis courts are. People are sneaking, and not sneaking, but they're jamming their cars into those 2 spots on the right side, and it's not passable. So during the pandemic, I'd like to ask that we put 2 cones there that just say no parking, tow zone, emergency, whatever the mayor wishes to put up. And then my final matter is on a positive note. I just wanted to remind the council and the public that how exciting it is that this Sunday, August 2nd at 7:30 at Newell Stadium, the class of 2020 will be having a socially distanced graduation ceremony. We've all been invited to attend. We have to be socially distanced and sit up in the stands, wearing a mask. I plan on being there, and I just think that this class has had some challenges in terms of all their dreams kind of having a little hiccup, and they're great students. And I think if any of you can get there on Sunday, August 2nd at 7:30, it would be great. So that's it. So thank you for administration and city staff for all your help in all of these issues. It's amazingly crazy right now, and we're all in this together. Thank you, Mayor, and your team. Much appreciated.
All right, thank you, Councilor. Councilor Holmgren.
I want to echo everyone else's thanks to Mayor Taken and city administration, city staff, to my fellow councilors, and to everyone in Gloucester. It seems like we are all just having things thrown at us right and left here every single day, but everybody I have found is supporting one another, is just trying their best, working really hard through this very tough, prolonged situation. And I am grateful and impressed every single day that we live here. And a very a special thank you to Mayor Taken and her administration for your accessibility and your quick responsiveness. It truly does help, and I know how busy you all are. So really.
Thank you, Jen. I echo Jen. That's awesome. I agree. Safatha, you're doing a great job. I know you are as long as you can be, like with answering everybody's social media, answering everybody's emails, trying to run the city. I see you got your hand up. I just wanted to get through this first part, but I don't have any requests to the mayor, but Mayor, would you like to say something?
Of course I do. First of all, thank you, everyone. Councilor O'Hara, we do already have a report. If you recall, when Councilor Cox asked us before when we get money on the YMCA, that if we can do a report on our properties. We also did a report for all our watershed supplies and a lot of the maintenance. I have to give kudos to Mike Hill, Jill, Cahill, especially working with EPA as far as looking at some of the dams that haven't been touched in 100 years. That's why you have some of your water pipes are being done. That's why some of your potholes or roads are not really being repaired, because we want to hurry up and get some of the infrastructure that we have to do under the ground that are old because of the way the water flows. We've been working all that. We did check the water when it was that massive rain, because that's where usually the flooding happens. Yes, people right now are smelling this odor. They think it's gas. They think it's from the sewage treatment plant. It's not. Sometimes dead water. I tell people, if you're smelling gas, do not Facebook me. Do not Facebook your city council. Immediately call 978-283-2424, not 911, and ask the fire station what you should do, because it could be any kind of a gas, and it could be toxic. So that being said, Val, be careful what you wish for, because then you can have the quarries. Just because the quarries could say there could be bacteria, which it probably is, you have someone jumping in, get sick, and they can sue because, you know, we didn't have enough signage. Don't forget, we also had no swimming at Pavilion Beach, and where do they go swimming? Right now, we are dealing with, this morning I got a text from Lieutenant Governor, Mayor Driscoll from Salem, Mayor Holliday from Newburyport. What the initials WTH, what does that stand for? We all know. We're all going through the same thing. Newburyport with their rivers, Salem, everything else, same exact thing. Salem now has a job description out for 19 hours for, guess what? Rangers, yes. Because the fact is, we just can't keep up. We found out that people are buying jet skis and boats more than they're buying cars. The jet skis that are out there, I can't even tell you, the harbor master's working around the clock. We had a post for a clerk so Chad can go out in the ocean. He actually called the environmental police, because there's some things we cannot do, because don't forget, it's a 65-mile radius, and there's so much that harbor master can do. The police patrol boat's been out. We've been out. I can't even tell you what's out there. We go there, we leave. We have to go do an emergency, because there's always emergencies also on the water. You know, I've seen pictures and videos that coming on shore, that coming even tied up. They'll say no trespassing, no this. They still do it. I have no idea. I mean, we're still trying to clean up the mess that we're finding from 2 weeks ago, and we had 70,000 people in the city of Gloucester. It's really hard, because it's not just Gloucester. Falmouth now just had to shut down because the fact is their lifeguards all got COVID. So read on those articles. I mean, we are doing very well. I really must say, even with the complaints I've been hearing, we're doing very well. Mr. Pratt, thank you for participating. He's been on board when I say absolutely, because I did say, if they don't start wearing masks, people, I will go to Rockport. We will shut down everything if I have to, because you know what? I want our children to go to school too. Jamie, the school, the great superintendent, he's jumping right on board with the Board of Health. We had also a meeting this morning discussing certain things. The fact is they have a subcommittee of school committee members, people, parents, associations, you know, Pathways, Wall Springs, to figure out what's best, what are they going to need with the teachers, the contracts, exactly how we're going to do it. They're also looking at, you know, I'll give you a scenario, you know what, maybe spreading out the classrooms, putting, you know, fifth grade at another place. I mean, we're working and looking at everything possible to make sure that we have it. I, on the other hand, working at the hospital all the time, I'm asking about our special needs students. If someone has an accident, should we hire home health aid? Should we hire, you know, outside cleaning contracts if we need to do bathrooms every half an hour? We not have the staff. Believe me, everyone, our first priority is keeping us all safe. Our first priority is, if we don't want all these things happening to us, well, then how are we putting our children in the schools if, you know, they're all going to be all together and what's happening, and how do you expect them to keep masks, and what are we going to do and how we're going to do it? We are working on everything possible. We're hearing it. We're all listening to you. We thank you for working with us. We have it. Can we say it's under control? Nobody can. If they said that I want their job, because there's no way. It's just been one of those 4 months of COVID. Everyone's inside, and now it's hell out there. It really is. It is WTH, what is going on? And we don't know. It's backwards. We thought we all had it under control, and next thing you know, it's just gone crazy again. Now, what you're seeing on shore, we're trying to maintain that with our rangers and everything else. We're putting more police patrol this weekend. And this weekend, again, just a warning, look at the high tide. It's Saturday. So you know what that means, lesser beaches, you know what that means. The mayor's gonna have to make that call again, and you know what that means. So be prepared. I let Discover Gloucester know. Jill, we're gonna make that call tomorrow. So I just wanna let you guys know, you know what, it's just, we're back to square one, and we talk to the governor all the time. And my biggest thing right now is that travel ban. How do I get my Airbnbs to tell me what's going on? How do they quarantine for 2 weeks? How the hell do we know that they're really from where they say they are? And then, because I know it's not a mandate, what's going on? But believe me, this morning, my team was on it with Discover Gloucester, with the chambers. You know what? I'm telling you, we're lucky we live in Gloucester. That's all I can say, because we at Cape Ann, because we have a great team. All of us around the chambers, Discover, my team, Jill, who's supposed to be off today. So much for being off. Vanessa, all of us, I mean, Zooming. I really like Zooming because everyone can get on. And right now it's great because, you know what, we can do 2 or 3. So I'll keep you updated. Vanessa's really good at that. She keeps you all updated what's going on. You know, you can reach out to me. So thank you very much. And you know what, the only thing I can say is keep trying. I know Long Beach, I know Annisquam, I know everyone's bombarded, but you know what, so is everyone else in all the streets. I mean, my old stomping neighborhood, Pavilion Beach, wow, you thought we were at a resort. I mean, you just,
Tell me about it.
yeah, you know, so you know what, we all got to share and we all got to do, because for some reason, it's not just the rivers. I can't even tell you. I didn't even know Newburyport had that river that was open. They don't even care if it's dirty. They're jumping. So I'll keep you updated, and thank you very much. And please, somebody write down all those, or it's already recorded, all those requests, because Val wrote me a book, so I'll have to go talk to her. Bye, good night.
Good night. All right, if there's nothing else, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. By roll call, Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Memhard.
I guess so.
Councilor O'Hara.
Yes.
Councilor Pat.
Yes.
Councilor Gilman.
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren.
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc. Yes, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week.